All right, welcome everybody to the Youngstown Studio. Our guests today are three-time Grammy nominees who have appeared live with music legends, including Rick Springfield, Pat Benatar, REO Speedwagon, the Marshall Tucker Band, and Rick Derringer, among several others. They also served in the backing band for R&B and soul icon Seal on his 30th anniversary world tour. They'll appear this Thursday at Westside Bowl in Youngstown, Ohio, and again Friday and Saturday at the New Waterford Music Festival in New Waterford, Ohio. Please welcome singer-songwriter duo Matt and Heather of Dauzat St. Matt and Heather, how are you?
Doing great.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So, give me what are the origins of Dauzat St. I mean, how did you guys meet, and when did you decide to be in a band together?
So we met in North Louisiana. I'm from Ruston, Louisiana, North Central. She's very Cajun from Rose, Louisiana. But she moved up there to go to art school. And I was just graduating from high school, putting a band together and holding auditions. And she came and auditioned for the band. And I was blown away. And we started touring. It was a heavier rock band. We started touring regionally, and that kind of grew. And we were just kids. I was still living at home, had a job, and so we would spend all our money on going out to Hollywood to play the Whiskey a Go-Go and Troubadour and stuff like that. And so just started growing the network, and the band continued to grow. And at some point, Heather and I decided we wanted to tour more often than the band was able to. So we started Dauzat St. kind of as a side project to supplement and tour in between band tours. And it just took off. We didn't intend for that, but I think maybe our third show or something was with Rick Springfield opening for him. He does a solo, like a acoustics, other thing. And we opened that show in Reno. And he was like, wow, I really love what you guys are doing. And it thoroughly enjoyed having you, warm up the crowd for me. If you ever want to open any other shows, let me know. And I was just like, yes, we want to do all the shows. So and he just took us out. Like, all of a sudden we were doing, it's kind of like Weekend Warrior stuff. We would fly out with him on a Thursday and do however many shows and then back on Sunday or Monday. And that's kind of how it just took off.
So how would you describe, for anybody that hasn't heard you, or people that are just going to hear you for the first time, I mean, what would you say is sort of the Dauzat St. sound? I mean, how would you describe your music?
I mean, we jokingly call it arena folk. It's definitely in that Americana singer-songwriter, but when people hear that and they see two people and an acoustic guitar, they're like, oh, okay, this is going to be
acoustic
one of those like, sit down, quiet shows. It's definitely not that. We pull from the rock, our rock roots a whole lot. And as Matt said, I'm Cajun, which equates to I'm really, really loud. And so, it's a very different show. It's edgy. It's on the rock side of Americana, but you always have those kind of Southern folk sensibilities to it with our tight harmonies.
Obviously with the rock background, we, one of our biggest ones was Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
So we got our start doing, before
shops,
we were able to put a full band together, we had some lineup changes. We were just doing coffee shops, just doing like Alice in Chains covers. And that's kind of our speed. She's a bit of a Lane Staley sort of vocal, and I'm certainly more of a Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah. That's probably the closest.
Yeah.
I got you. So, as mentioned, you've toured with some rock royalty. How did you kind of get on their radar? I mean, I'm sure that every scenario is different, but I mean, like Rick Springfield, Pat Benatar, REO Speedwagon. I mean, how did these bands kind of discover you? And what did you learn from touring with them?
Well, I think we're going to have to credit Rick for most of them. I would say that's how we did the Pat Benatar tour, was because of Rick. It was us and Rick and Pat Benatar. And this most recent arena tour that we just did with REO Speedwagon, that was also Rick. So we got to credit him with almost all of those. And then Seal was different because he's kind of he's a obsessive kind of guy. Like, he gets on YouTube and goes down rabbit holes. And he was when he started looking to do the 30th anniversary world tour, he wanted to get musicians that can handle like guitar and all the backing vocals. He didn't want to have like a bunch of backing tracks running for this. He wanted really to be live. And so he was just on YouTube and he found Dauzat St performance videos and literally called me on FaceTime and offered me the job.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, what I guess what do you learn from being in Seal's band, and from touring with some of these like some of these huge acts? And do you have to kind of adjust your show at all when you're in an arena setting? I would assume maybe it's got to get a little louder. Is the approach any different?
Well, Seal is definitely different in that it's a little bit of a different style than I'm used to, and there's a lot of really cool and intricate guitar parts that I had to learn. A lot of cool guitar tones, and singing all the backgrounds. Now you're singing with Seal, right? That's well, and one of the biggest differences for me in the beginning. I think one of my first shows or third shows with him was Jennifer Hudson live on TV, and went over to his house to rehearse for that show, and immediately, instead of rehearsing, he puts on Crosby, Stills and Nash, and we sit there and listen to Crosby, Stills and Nash for at least an hour. And I was just like, "Man, are we gonna rehearse?" And he's like, he has me out of my comfort zone a little bit insofar as I'm used to, like with Heather, locking into absolutely everything, like lockstep tight harmonies. Like really tight. That's my thing. With Seal, he doesn't always just want that. So if you listen to those records, you have Seal like the main vocal, and instead of like actual harmonies, they're like alternate lead lines that are dancing around his thing. So it's more like singing a lead vocal, which I don't particularly enjoy doing that much. But that's what that job called for. And so then I had to kind of step up and do that and dial in a tone that was appropriate for singing with Seal. So it was a different approach. I'm used to singing with her for ages now, so that got me out of my comfort zone. So that that's where you grow, right? Whenever you're out of your comfort zone. And so certainly a lot better musician and singer for that experience. And then bringing her into the band with Seal was also different because now she's singing backing vocals which she never.
Right.
So I guess he had us kind of switch roles. He has me singing like these lead things, and you're singing these backing vocals.
Yep.
Which is fun.
Yeah, and I think the quote he told you, like, if you're not scared, you're not growing.
Yeah. If you're if you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah. So it's great.
You mentioned Seal not wanting to use in any kind of like backing tracks. He wanted kind of the whole thing live. One of my big pet peeves, especially in like the rock world now, is like a lot of bands are just sort of the overuse where it's like they have half the so I've seen bands where like nothing is live, but it's like what's going on here? Now you guys obviously with the harmonies and everything else too. I mean, where do you kind of stand on that whole sort of that sort of thing? I would assume you guys want to be like live. I mean, you guys are singing and everything else too. I mean, I guess some little parts in certain songs, if you can't replicate like that's okay, but like when it becomes a whole thing on there, that's where I sort of draw the line on it. But what's your guys' take on that whole sort of situation?
I think I feel the same as you. I think it's cool to augment your show. I mean, say if you're like a country band, for example, like, and you're not mega, Lainey Wilson, who can just take out like whoever she wants. If there's maybe a little, pedal steel part that's not just like, crucial, but it helps, the mix, being in the mix, I'd say you definitely put that on backing tracks or whatever. I don't like lead vocals on backing tracks at all.
Yeah.
We used backing tracks for the first time. We just played Milwaukee Summerfest. And so what we did, we just wanted to have because it was on the big stage. And so we wanted to have a little bit more of a augmented show. And so we went in and produced backing tracks that are more like subtle. So we didn't just take the tracks from the record, which a lot of people just, they get the stems from the record, and that's okay too. But we did bespoke backing tracks that were very subtle, but added just a little bit of something and a little more production, and that was very cool. So that's something we will experiment with a little more. And we wouldn't do that on most stages, but like on the big stages, maybe. For New Waterford, you got two
it's just
people.
Gonna be the two of us.
Yeah, we're just gonna be doing our thing, and that's always kind of interesting too when you're at festivals like this. This is all like big rock bands, and here comes this little duo. That scared us at first. Like honestly, like when we did the Pat Benatar tour, those are big rock bands. I mean, that's a full rock production, and we walk out with an acoustic guitar, and we're like, man, are people gonna hate us? And we walked out to do our thing, and people love it. They hear, I guess, some authenticity and zero backing tracks, and they just kind of gravitate to it. And thank goodness. I mean, we did a festival where Mushroom Head was the headliner, and it was like all screaming metal bands, which is not what we were going to see at but it was all screaming metal bands, and man, they flocked over as soon as we started doing our thing. We usually start our show with like an a cappella piece to kind of like
throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, just maybe set the scene, right? What you're to expect. And man, all these metalheads flocked over to the stage, including like the Mushroom Head guys. Like
they loved it.
Waylon, the singer, after is like, man, I love what you guys do, and it's cool. I guess that sort of thing is a little universal, but yeah. So I guess to sum up, we're cool with backing tracks
if it's used as a technology kind of thing, an added element. Same as like a light show, right? I mean, a light show can definitely add to the whole experience. But if you're just relying on it to be your show, then that's a little bit of a crutch, and that's kind of definitely double line.
We've toured with bands before that were really relying on the backing tracks and the sound. It's always funny with the front of house guys. They're like, "Hey, watch this," and they'll hit mute on that. They like to mess with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the people we're touring with we do a lot of the legacy touring, right? And these people they're gunning for it, like in real time,
life,
in the wild.
Yeah.
Hey, so technical question here, as far as your voices go, I mean, especially on longer tours like that, I mean, how do you guys keep your voices in shape? I mean, how are you able to kind of make it to where you guys are at the top of your game every night? Because I mean, that can get tricky on the road, depending on, I mean, every situation is different, whatever. But obviously, staying in hotels or being on the road's not exactly the healthiest place either, food wise and that sort of thing. So how do you guys keep your voices in shape, especially on the sort of the longer treks?
Well, you kind of touched on all of it. I mean, we definitely try to eat healthy because it does matter. Drinking lots of water, getting as much sleep as possible. It's kind of funny. That's what we do most on tour is sleep. But I mean, those 8 hours are crucial for the voice to just rest.
Resets the voice.
Yeah. We do vocal warm-ups every day. And since the SEAL tour, he discovered something called a sing ring. It's pretty funny because people see us, they're like, "What are you guys vaping?" It's like no, yeah, but it's like a straw, a brass one, and you can plug up holes to give enough resistance, and it kind of balances out the pressure above and below your vocal cords. And the first time he got me one, and I was just like, "This is stupid! Like, what?" And then you try it, and then when you speak afterwards, it's like, wow, my voice sounds completely different. It really does help. So we try to do all those tricks, not a lot of talking before the show, because actually, like, especially, when we're in a market where we've got a lot of fans and a lot of friends, and you're like, hey, what's up? And you don't realize you're talking over the music. Yeah. You'll talk your voice out before a show.
Right there for me.
Yeah. So normally we're hiding before the show so that we can get Yeah, but that's not it. It's kind of a boring life on the road, but it makes for a good show.
Yeah.
I got you. So I want to talk about a couple songs, and I sort of want to get the backstory, sort of the inspiration, and sort of how they came together. The first one, obviously, the one that was nominated 3 times for the 2021 Grammys. Where Were You? How did that one come together? What was the inspiration behind that? And sort of, how did that one come together?
I think that song it's kind of like a collection of moments from like all of our consciousness, and how like a song, you attach songs to moments in your life. And I think that was kind of the concept, right? Just it's funny, like in that song, we didn't really mean to, but like we reference a bajillion other songs in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it. It's all about how like songs can you attach songs to moments, and we're just kind of like reliving important moments from our life in that song. There's kind of a chronological, certain I guess pillar moments in our life, and we thought a lot of other people would connect with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So the next one I want to ask about, probably your biggest song, I would say, is in terms of views and stuff on YouTube. Common Ground. So what was sort of the story behind that one, and how that one come together?
Again, we were just kind of talking and realizing that social media, which is supposed to bring us together, really in a lot of ways divides. There's people way over on this side and people way over on that side. And, we're traveling the country, traveling the world, and we see that there's a whole lot more that we have in common than we do different. And that's kind of what that song was about, was like that anthem of just like, hey guys, we can all disagree on certain things, but we really do want to be in the middle for, the big important things in life. Because all of us are going to go through rough times. All of us are going to go through joyous, momentous times. And that roller coaster, you need people to be there with you on it. And so that's kind of what it's about, is like, join us in the middle, people,
Yeah, it's weird too, and you mentioned that. Like, I mean, obviously, you guys see it online and stuff too with social media, and you see sort of all this division. And I think social media is set up to divide people, right? Like, it's like if you watch one thing, it's going to keep feeding you one thing. If you're angry about one thing, it's going to, it tries to sort of keep you riled up. But then you go out in the real world and like you talk to people, and it's like, all this outrage, especially like at shows and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I see very little of that. You know what I mean? But it's just way more amplified on social media.
Yeah,
you can see like some of the louder people on there that are spreading some divisive stuff. But then when you hang out with these people like in real life, they're not that way. But like, so I don't know what happens on social media. All of a sudden they feel like they've got to spew forth this whatever.
It's kind of like road rage, right? My joke used to be, if you're not with the anonymity of your car, like, would someone actually do that at a grocery store?
Right.
Shopping cart and cut you off and ram the back of you and stuff. And it's the same thing online. I guess people feel a little bolder and a little like, free to say these things that they would not actually say at a party or just hanging out with a group of people.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of, I guess, this year sort of entail for you guys? I mean, obviously you're going to be, in Ohio here this week, but I mean, what's the rest of the year look like? I mean, is there new music on the horizon? Any new videos to look out for?
Ooh, yeah. Well, we have some stuff in the works, but we are really booked up. She had a skiing accident earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And, broke some bones and tore some ACLs and tore some meniscus.
Yeah.
So she had a major surgery that put us out for a bit. And so we pushed off our normal touring year. So we're the rest of this year is pretty much booked up.
It's packed.
But we do have a couple of releases coming, and we'll try to work on. We're a little bit overdue for recording some new stuff. We have new music. We just need to record it. And we're not the best at. We have touring mode and we have studio mode, and really do we. Those two are fairly divided.
Yeah.
We get home from tour. There's like a recovery period that has to happen. Going straight into the studio is unlikely. And so, but we'll try to. We have I think we have 3 weeks coming up after this tour, and then we're not going to see home again until
after Thanksgiving. Yeah, December.
And then we may take off and do some more stuff in December. So I don't know.
I got you. Staying very busy though, which is always good. But well, Matt and Heather, thank you so much for joining us once again, everybody. Dauzat St. They're going to be at Westside Bowl in Youngstown on Thursday night. They'll be at the New Water Music Festival in New Waterford. That's at New Waterford Village Park on Friday and Saturday. But yeah, thank you guys so much. So if people want to get in touch with you guys, it's DauzatSt.com, right? I'll put all that info here. But yeah, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Actually, I made it even easier. It's dsm.live. That way you don't worry about spelling these crazy names.
Because you can pronounce Dauzat St, but not everybody else can.
Right.
So. What's the worst pronunciation you've heard of it so far?
Oh man, I don't know. There's some.
Usually people just hesitate. They're just like, oh,
Matt and Heather.
Matt
and Heather.
Yeah, that's fine too.
We considered that in the beginning, Matt and Heather. Yeah. That would have been easier, but there was like a Matt and Kim.
And so we were just like, stay away from that.
Is what it is. But yeah.
dsm.live.
Yeah, that's what it is.